Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you are joining me. It says allow microphone permissions. Ugh, I clicked on that, but it's not doing anything. Okay. Oh well, technology is had always loved technology. It always works the best for me. So I'm Kelly Yogurt. Kind of sounds a little bit like yogurt. Hey y'all. And if we're meeting for the first time, of course, again, Kelly, I'm an author, transformational hypnosis coach. I'm a doctoral candidate at Saybrook University, and I've been a holistic practitioner now for I think I'm close to 40 years now. I keep saying over 35 years, but I think it's close to 40 years now. But anyway, it's been a long time. So I've had a lot of experience with holistic modalities. I'm a clinical aromatherapist, clinical herbalist, a board certified hypnotherapist with IAC, of course, Reiki master teacher, sound healer, breathwork facilitator, and basically all things holistic for 40 years now. That's my daughter who was who is now the offspring of a crunchy mama. All the information here is for educational purposes only. You can always find me at momokelly.com or kellyhugert.com. And it's an honor to be with you today and to share a little bit more about my story. And more importantly, one of the most effective tools that I have used in my healing thus far. And that's a pretty big statement to say, especially somebody who's been practicing holistic modalities for, like I said, 40 years now. And this is probably my top tool that I love. So, just a little bit about my story. I had complex post-traumatic stress disorder from intimate partner violence. I am an HSP, a highly sensitive person, and this is what my doctoral research is on as well, is healing from complex post-traumatic stress disorder as a highly sensitive person due to intimate partner violence. And between the complex PTSD and being a solo entrepreneur, it led to total burnout. And when I say burnout, I mean I was not even able to get up off of the couch for many, many years. The trauma, the abuse, and then trying to make it as a solo entrepreneur really, um, really destroyed me. The abuse mostly, obviously, but then trying to do all those things on top of dealing with the abuse was very difficult for me to navigate. And so, I just remember this one day in particular that was such a rough day for me. And I remember thinking, this is going to be this is the day that this is the ending, so to speak. I tried to unalive myself. It was a very difficult time, but thankfully, I heard a whisper, and when I heard that whisper in my spirit, it said, "Look up." And when I did look up, I saw the clouds. And in those clouds was the shape of my first grandbaby. And I remember thinking, I don't know how I'm going to get through it, but I'm going to get through it. And this led me to uncover a natural method for not only reclaiming my inner fire and rediscovering my joy and my peace after this period of total darkness, but then allowed me the healing, the healing journey that I went on, which is what my doctoral research is on as well, and is what I talk about in my book, really also allowed me to reach back and help others, right, who are in similar situations. And so now I teach others the same tools that I discovered that are based on solid science. I don't do fads. I've never done fads. And people who have worked with me many, many years ago before I became as a hypnotherapist would even tell you then as an herbalist, I was known as the no fad zone. So these are based on science, no fads, and I'm not trying to brag. I do have a 97% success rate with my clients. But more importantly, it's what my clients think of me that matters. And I've been called a miracle worker and an angel sent from above, just a few things that I've been called by my lovely, beautiful, wonderful clients. So in today's presentation, I want to talk a little bit about self-hypnosis. Everything that we're doing all the time is hypnosis, whether you understand that or not. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that looks like, but you're in self-hypnosis all the time. If you've ever lost track of time while you're either scrolling social media or reading a book or watching a movie or whatnot, you are already doing self-hypnosis. If you've ever missed an exit because you were jamming out to your favorite radio station, or you're listening to Rob Bass, right? It takes two. I'm I'm dating myself a little bit right now, but that's my jam. And you've ever missed your exit because you was in your jam, you're experiencing self-hypnosis. If you've ever felt anxious, like something's chasing you, but you're sitting at home quietly in your house, you're doing self-hypnosis already. If you've ever been to a movie, now I feel like the Jeff Foxworthy thing. You might be a redneck, yeah. If you've ever been to a movie, for example, like Marley and Me, if you've ever been to a movie like Marley and Me, and you cried when the dog died and there was no actual dog in front of you dying, you are already doing self-hypnosis. You're a perfect candidate. So now all you need to do is make it work for you, right? If you've ever been to a movie and you've been like, run, they gonna kill you. You're doing self-hypnosis because no one is actually getting killed in the movie, right? This is all a form of self-hypnosis. This is something that we do natural and normal all the time. And it's been around since the beginning of the modern mammalian brain. So this idea that it's new, it's not. It was approved by American Medical Association in the 50s, but it's not new. It's been around since the brain evolved. So think about if you've ever sat in a campfire and watched just the flames of the campfire and just felt so mesmerized by them and just felt like you could just like stay there forever. And then maybe somebody called your name and they had to say your name maybe 2 or 3 times before you said, huh? You are practicing self-hypnosis. You're already doing it. So some of the myths are that it's magic. And while it is very magical, it is very much a speedy modality. I have people who come to me who are therapy dropouts who've been in therapy 5, 10, 15, and 20 years and not made any forward motion. And they come to me and they're like, Kelly, there's got to be a better way. And I say, there is. Now, of course, I don't ever tell anybody to stop seeing their therapist. Um, I have a therapist, it's great to have these support people around you. So you should keep that. But the point is a very, very much a more of a speedy modality than other modalities. And so that was one of the reasons why I chose it. In my case, I was a therapy dropout. She said, you've got PTSD. And I said, I can't have PTSD. I did not go to war. And she said, oh, you've been to war every day of your life. And while very valuable and very therapeutic in that context, that was about the only part I got out of it. I did not get any forward motion. And so that's why I went on the journey. Like I'm an HSP. I can't keep losing 3 days a week to therapy because I was losing the day before, I was losing the day of, and I was losing the day after. And so I said, there's got to be a better way. And so I went on a journey. That's what the book is about. And one of the most valuable tools is this tool that I'm sharing with you. Of course, I learned. Of course, I used herbalism, aromatherapy, and I've talked about all of that in my book, and I talk about that in a dissertation as well. But this is one of the really, really consistent things that I've used day in, day out is self-hypnosis. So I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about the mind. And these numbers are actually outdated numbers now. Because neuroscientists are still debating on what part of the brain is the unconscious mind, and what part of the mind is the unconscious mind, what part is the conscious mind. And again, since hypnosis has been approved by the American Medical Association in the 50s, we've been doing this as a human species since the mammalian brain again evolved, right? Shamans, that's a form of hypnosis. Flower essences, if you use and pick up flower essences and you're using like energetics or you're using like connecting with the plant in some way, you're actually kind of using a form of a shamanic type practice, which could also be considered hypnosis as well. Some debate there, but for the purposes of our discussion here, just to make it easy and more understandable, that's the terminology that I'm going to use. So the conscious mind, the part of the mind that you actually think about. So when your phone rings, you look at the phone and you swipe the button. That's a conscious thing. Now, if you're asleep and you answer your phone in the middle of the night, is that going to be a conscious reaction? Is that an unconscious reaction? It's actually an unconscious reaction because you're asleep, right? But this idea of seeing something and noting it, that is a conscious thought. That's only about 5% of our mind. 5%, that's it. That's where your willpower lives. So at the top of the circle, if you can see my chicken scratch here, follow me with the chicken scratch. But you can see that is just a very small part of our mind. It's only about 5%. Here I have 12%. Now the science is saying no, it's closer to 5%. That's where logic resides, right? That's the logical part of your brain that says, it's negative 35 degrees outside. Maybe I put on socks with my shoes. Okay, so that's that part of the mind. That's where your reason and your willpower comes from. If you've ever met somebody, I work with people who want to release, weight, release old pounds that are no longer serving them. And so this is where willpower lives in that 5% of the mind. So if you've ever noticed anybody who is dieted, which I hate that term, DIE, then a T on the end. I think hopefully you got that. If they'll be like, I do good, Kelly. I don't understand it. I don't do it. I do good all day long. I do, and then 8 o'clock at night, everything crashes. Do you know why? Because you're only using 5% of your brain, your mind. Only 5% of your mind is that part where willpower is, and it can only last for so much. Your superior judgment, 5%, right? So now, where is the 95%? That's the unconscious mind, or some people call that the subconscious mind. Some people use the term superconscious mind, supraconscious, all irrelevant. For the purpose of our discussion today, we will use the scientific term, which is called the unconscious mind. And just like a computer or your phone, what you put in is what you're going to get. So if you put in a reminder on your phone that you want to wake up at 7:30 in the morning and you hit the button, that alarm is going to go off at 7:30 in the morning, whether you like it or not. Your phone doesn't say, well, she really needs to sleep an extra 30 minutes, so I'm going to wait. That's not what happens. So whatever you put into the unconscious mind, you're going to get back out. You cannot put cookies into the oven and pull out a steak. And it's the same way with your unconscious mind. You want to make sure you're putting in the things that you want. And for the purposes of our discussion, when I'm working with clients one-on-one, a lot of times we have to delete the old things. And that's where working with someone one-on-one comes involved. Really, this is a really deep, intimate work where we'll say, what are the old things that are holding you back? We want to delete all those things and we want to reprogram your computer with the good things. Now, with self-hypnosis, it can take you a little bit longer to do this on your own. That's why people hire people like me. And I even have my own, hypnotherapist as well that I hire. It can go speedier when you're working with somebody. But to start you out, you can go ahead and get started on these things as well. Hypnosis is natural. It's something you're already doing every day anyway. So you can get the class and you can start learning how to reprogram your own mind and really see the value of self-hypnosis. And even if you're only using it for relaxation and you're doing like autogenics with it, which actually comes with the class, that even just that in of itself is so, so valuable, and you'll get a lot out of that. But again, working with someone is really where the rubber meets the road. We could do a lot more work. But let's talk about the science behind self-hypnosis so you have a little bit better understanding. So hypnotic state can stimulate the release of endorphins. Endorphins make you what? Happy. We all know from the show where, what is it? where she, the girl goes to law school and she says, exercise produces endorphins. Endorphins make you happy, and happy people don't kill their husbands, right? Because she's trying to find the true murderer. And this is the idea here of self-hypnosis as well. This can really stimulate the release of endorphins, help the body with the feel-good chemicals. These are really, really, really important, particularly with people who have pain syndromes, which I don't use that term when I'm working with my clients. We use the term comfort. Pain syndromes or increasing your comfort levels. I have two bad knees. I have 20 plus years of martial arts on these knees, and I use self-hypnosis every day, especially on this right knee that I blew out during COVID, and no one would see me. And it probably needs surgery. Yet here I am still daily doing self-hypnosis. So these endorphins are really good for people who have pain syndromes like migraines or any type of chronic pain. Also great for chronic illnesses. I work with a lot of people who have chronic illnesses, and teaching them self-hypnosis is one of the most beneficial things that we can do. Of course, it's not the only thing, but it is a really good beneficial thing we can do. Now, of course, self-hypnosis has been linked to regulation of the autonomic nervous system. So I work with people who have POTS, dysautonomia, EDS, and those type of things. And again, this is another reason why it's so valuable, because it can help reduce that fight or flight, right? And really put you into a rest and digest, and can help you really to shift into spending more time into that parasympathetic or that rest and digest state. And when you do that, it gives the body more time to heal. So that's another of the physical aspect. Now, of course, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. Obviously, I'm just giving you the highlights here. So now the neurological parallels between like self-hypnosis and meditation are very, very similar. So a lot of people say, well, what's the difference? Well, they're very, very similar. And I had one client actually came in actually about a year ago, and he said, I've got a really great meditation practice. And I said, great, this is going to be a lot easier because you already have a lot of the foundational knowledge. Now, of course, if you don't, it's okay. I'm going to teach you. That's my job. But if you already have a meditation practice or a mindfulness practice, then self-hypnosis is going to slide right in there very, very easily and very, very effortlessly. And you're going to find it that really, really is a synergistic, say that 3 times fast, apparently I can't, synergistic effect on the system, because you're doing both things, right? So what happens during self-hypnosis is there's an increase in theta brainwaves. And theta brainwaves, now, for the purposes of our discussion, I've also done alert hypnosis as well. So that's a whole different topic. But for the purposes of our discussion, we're going to just talk about the theta waves. They're associated with deep relaxation, with creativity, and with heightened suggestibility, right? So you want to put in positive suggestions. And this is something I teach in the class. And of course, I teach to my clients as well. Okay, so if you're interested in class, you want to learn more, I have a lot of resources with that. There's a book that comes with it. There's a self-hypnosis class where I teach you how to do it. And then there's some resources on autogenic training, and I believe progressive muscle relaxations. And if those are not in there, you can just shoot me a message. And if you have the class and you don't see those, just shoot me a message. I'll make sure you get those. Now, those are just some of the benefits of self-hypnosis. Stress reduction, and that's huge, especially when we're looking at 60 to 8. I think they've upped the number on this now. The science, I think, is coming back a little differently on this. But for the purpose of what our discussion today is, I'll stick with the numbers that I know. About 60 to 80% of medical visits have a stress-related component, which means stress either caused the issue, right? Think about childhood trauma experiences. That's why a lot of people have chronic illnesses, because not all the time, but that can be a reason for that, childhood traumas or childhood abuses and neglects. Think about ACE scores. So 60 to 80% of medical visits are caused or exacerbated by stress, which means stress either caused the issue or stress is exacerbating it. We call this in mind body medicine, We call this psychoneuroimmunology. That's a fancy word, but basically saying that the mind and the body work together. And that's what mind-body medicine is. It's basically psychoneuroimmunology. So it enhances focus and concentration. It can help you overcome limiting beliefs. It can help enhance creativity if you're a solo entrepreneur or if you're an entrepreneur. Creativity is huge for us. So, that's a really big thing. Debt relief. I've worked with people who have reduced their debt and have made more money using hypnosis. It can improve sports outcomes. I once had a client who wanted to improve his golf game. So, there's so many different things we can do. Improve sleep, positive mood, habit change. I work with a lot of people who stop smoking or stop vaping. And um, great, great, great outcomes here. Again, pain management. I am trained as a sexologist, which means a hypnosis sexologist, which means I use hypnosis for intimate issues as well. So improved sexual function. Again, there's the class, a link to the class if you'd like to grab it. Um, Hypnosis was approved by the American Medical Association in the 50s. And here's the thing, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, or even if you're not a solo entrepreneur, and that's okay. If you're a highly sensitive person that's sensitive, self-hypnosis can be very, very valuable, not only to help manage burnout, but more importantly, to promote recovery. So if you've had issues of burnout, complex stress in any way, shape, or form, extreme stress can lead to burnout, PTSD, and complex PTSD. So this is one little tool that we can put in the toolbox. Now, I have a group program as well that I teach a lot of other tools, but this is just one tool that can be very, very valuable, can really get you out of that fight or flight, can help it rest and digest, and can help you to determine what suggestions you want to put in your own session, right? And what that looks like for you. In my book, I talk about, and I think the book comes with the program, but if not, I can send you my book if you need it. The book comes with you want to use I am statements when you're doing your recording, I am something positive, whatever that looks like for you. One of my daily affirmations is every day in every way I'm healing. So you can put that in there. I am strong. I am resilient. I am confident. I am calm. There's so many different things that you can do. You create a calm environment, right? you know, put your do not disturb sign on. A lot of times what I like to do is I actually like to do a hot bath with some aromatherapy and then some music. And then I'll go in and I'll do my self-hypnosis. I'll lay down in the bed, I'll do some self-hypnosis and I go to bed. And that's just sort of like my way of doing my self-care. And when you do your self-hypnosis, I've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but you want to create a supportive environment. So start with some breath work, right? Some 7-11 breathing, like breathing in through the nose through the count of 7 and breathing out through the mouth through the count of 11, right? Start with some breath work, put your waterfall sounds on or your nature sounds on or what's calming for you. Allow the mind to wander a little bit. Visualize a future version of yourself, the part of yourself that's already gotten whatever it is that you're looking for, or the part of you that's calm, the part of you that's relaxed, whatever that looks like for you, right? And then this is sort of the idea of you're creating a container, right? You're creating a container and you're putting in the things that you want in your container. And so that is self-hypnosis. All right, so you can comment below or let me know, or you can shoot me a message, whatever that looks like for you. How would you like to use self-hypnosis? And then, of course, what support do you need beyond the class? So you can get the class here again if you're interested. I want to talk a little bit about common mistake and pro tips. Also, here's my phone number if you need it, 804-92-HYPNO, 804-YU-HYPNO. We can set up a time to chat. I only see clients now on Tuesdays and Thursdays right now. So I can send you a link and we can schedule as well. But here's some common mistakes. One of the common mistakes is doing it once and thinking, why didn't it work? Number one is this is something you're doing every day, but probably more so towards the negative. So if you're having any kind of negative thoughts or emotions, you're doing self-hypnosis. So now you have to do it way more to counteract that negative that you're already kind of putting out there. So that's probably one of the common mistakes, people thinking, oh, this one time and that'll be it. Um, Here's another pro tip. You can use EFT with it as well. You can kind of start it with EFT and really get yourself into it easily. I like to use an anchor. I teach an anchor as well. So thumb and forefinger together and really anchoring in that moment. But the pro tip here is practicing it all the time when you don't need it. It's kind of like breath work. Practice it, practice it, practice it. Let it become more of a default. And then when you need it more so, now you've got the relationship with it, right? This idea of building a relationship with yourself, because that's what you're doing when you're practicing self-hypnosis. You're already doing it probably for the negative. I work with a lot of people who have anxieties and general anxiety disorders, and they're already in negative self-hypnosis. So if you have an anxiety disorder, or anything like that, you're already in negative self-hypnosis. It's going to take you more time to get into the positive version of it. So give yourself some grace, give yourself some leeway, practice, 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 practice. Do it at nighttime before you go to bed. It's a perfect time. You're already in natural trance state anyways. When you do your recordings for your whatever it is that you're looking for, do your recording, you know, count yourself in with some breath work, lower your voice a little bit. Make your voice more hypnotic, and don't hit the spoon on the cup like I just did. Make your voice a little bit hypnotic, breathe in to the count of 7, breathe out to the count of 11, or just say simply breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. And now imagine yourself at a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful staircase, right? So you see how I'm prepping myself for this, right? I'm using my hypnotic voice. I'm dropping it a little bit to the octave. You want to drop your voice down a little bit to the octave and slow your pace out. So those are some pro tips. Now, can you do hypnosis without doing that? Yeah, you're doing it every day anyway, right? When you're losing track of, if you've ever sat through a red light, I've done this before. If you've ever sit through a red light and the guy's beeping behind you, you're already doing self-hypnosis. So you're already doing it. But let's do it in a way that's beneficial for you, that's supportive for you, that's getting you where you want to go instead of where you don't want to go. We just stopped at a red light. All right. So if you have any questions or concerns or wonderings, feel free to reach out. My email is Kelly with an I at kellyhuger.com. You can send me an email. But again, the classes here, it's so valuable, so easy to learn. The class is about an hour, but there's some resources that go along. And once you learn it, it's kind of like learning Reiki. Once you learn it, nobody can take away from you. And you can use it every day, however you like. So again, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here. And if you have questions, concerns again, or wonderings, simply reach out and we'll schedule a call and be blessed in all that you do. Take care.